Hello everyone, Minky here with the next deck profile episode. This is being recorded almost straight after the Cypher episode from last time, so, or, depending on how it's going. I'm kind of expecting it to be weekly, but who knows. Well, I say weekly, I mean like focusing on the Egyptian God cards only at the moment. Anyway, so today, obviously I'm doing another Egyptian God card deck, that being Obelisk this time, so let's just get started. Obelisk the Tormentor is my favourite of the three, and oh, there's a lot of cards in this deck. But yeah, so Obelisk is my favourite, and it's also the best of the three, I think, from my understanding of it. Now I'm going to try and speedrun this deck because there's a lot of cards to it, and I've not put any of the side deck, so that's I hope we can get this done in a nice timing. Alright, so the boss monster of the deck is Obelisk the Tormentor, predictably so. I've only got the one copy of him and I've got no other boss monsters, he's the only one here. So this guy, he requires 3 tributes to be normal summoned, cannot be normal set. This card's normal summon cannot be negated. When normal summoned, cards and effects cannot be activated. Cannot be targeted by spells, traps or card effects. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this card is best summoned, sent to the graveyard. You can tribute 2 monsters. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. This card can attack the turn you activate its effects. So he's not as powerful as you expect him to be, but he's got the nice protection, so that's at least that. Which is pretty nice, I think. And you're gonna see what I do with him in this deck. So here's a good reason for me to speedrun the deck. We've got normal monsters. The first one being Alexandrite Dragon, who has 2000 attack. So he's a nice level 4 monster, so there you go. That's the first monster. Next up, the second monster. We have Flamefell Guard, a level 1 tuner with, I think 2000 defense. I was hoping it would be 21 defense, but it's just straight 2000. But yeah, level 1 tuner, so there you go. Next up is this is the what you're gonna predict, if you will. Make your predictions now, But Hautic Seal of the Sun Dragon Overlord. Yeah, this is what the deck is basically based on, if you will, but you'll see that as we go along. And you might think like this might be better off in the Ra deck because it's kind of more akin to Ra, but Ra doesn't use tributes for his effect, so there you go. Next up is 2 copies of Luster Dragon number 1, or Luster Dragon number 0, I guess technically, because there's no Luster Dragon number 1 in the Ruby version. And speaking of Luster Dragon, we have 2 copies of Luster Dragon number 2, so technically speaking we've got Luster Dragon 4 overall, or Luster Dragon 6 if the first one is Luster Dragon 1, so but yeah, another nice monster right there. Next up is a card you probably wouldn't predict, or maybe you would but you probably wouldn't, is Petite Dragon, a level 2 dragon normal monster. So you got them, there's a nice little statue card, and I think they're a fusion material for a card as well. Next we have the Dragon Dwelling Within a Cave, a level 4 2000 defense monster, so he's a nice little defender. And his 1300 attack is just slightly worse version of Mystical Elf and Giant Touch of Stone, but And the final normal monster, What's Tail Dragon. 2500 attack and 1000 defense for a level 6 dragon monster, so that's not too bad. His description is pretty cool as well. Not the first part, but the second part. It says, important, capturing the What-Tail Dragon is forbidden by the ancient rules, and is a level 6 offense. The minimum sentence for which is imprisonment for no less than 2500 heliocycles. So obviously, I love that, because obviously Ancient Rules is a spell card in the real game, and it allows you to spell summon a normal monster from your hand. Level 6 offense, obviously it's a level 6 monster. And the sentence is imprisonment for 2500 heliocycles, and it's got 2500 attacks, so pretty cool description right there for a normal monster. That's why I love normal monsters sometimes. Alright, time for the effect monsters. First of all, we have Carbodin, or whatever his name is. If this card battles a fire monster during damage calculation, this card gets a pass and attack during damage calculation only. You can banish this card from your graveyard, so it's got a graveyard effect for you to tribute for Obelisk. Special summon from your hand or deck one level 7 or lower dragon type normal monster in face of a defense position, like a bunch of the monster listed earlier. You can use the effect of this card once per turn. So you can only get one, you can only banish it to get one out on the field, but hey, it's something. Next up, we have Dragon Ice. This is Dragon Nice because it is very nice. When your opponent special summons a monster, except during damage step, you can discard one card, special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. There can only be one Dragon Ice on the field. So that's a really nice effect. It's not, you don't have to worry about card advantage in your hand because it's not Cypher deck. And you can discard a Dragon type normal monster and still get it back through a bunch of these cards effects. Well, as you'll see in a short bit. So that's a really nice effect. Next up we have Hand of Nephthys. Tribute 2 monsters from your side of the field, including this card, to special one Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys from your hand or deck. So a nice effect, it tributes 2 monsters, kind of like Obelisk, albeit it has to include itself in that. But you'll see why that's a bit more important in a short while right there. So there you go. You won't have to wait too long. The next monster is a Herald of Creation. Once per turn, you can discard one card and then target one level 7 or high monster in your graveyard and that target in your hand. So you can discard any card and get any level 7 or high monster from your graveyard back into your hand, like Obelisk the Tormentor. You can also get like a few other options in there, or you can discard certain monsters as well, such as a Dragon type normal monster. So it's a nice little card right there. Alright, now we get into the real deck, if you will, the real portion of the deck. This monster is Heretic Dragon of Esset. You can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 1000. Once per turn, you can target one face-up Dragon type normal monster on the field. The levels of all face-up Heretic monsters currently on the field become the level of that monster until the end phase. When this card is tributed, special summon one Dragon type normal monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard and make its attack and defense 0. So yeah, all these guys do bring out Dragon type normal monsters from your hand, deck, or graveyard, so you can get more and more like tributes for certain things and whatnot, which is really nice for certain players, and especially for Obelisk that tributes anyway. So it's really nice there. So the next bunch of cards is going to be pretty predictable in a way. As we next have Heretic Dragon of Nephthys. You can special summon this card from your hand by tributing one Heretic monster. Once per turn, you can tribute one Heretic monster, except this card, from your hand or your side of the field to target one monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. When this card is tributed, special summon one Dragon type normal monster from your hand or deck, or graveyard, and make its second defense 0, so it's got a generic Heretic effect of tributing, or being tributed I should say. Next up, we have Heretic Dragon of Tefnuit. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monster, it's a side round effect. You get special summoned if you control no monsters and your opponent does. This card cannot attack during the turn it is special summoned this way. When this card is tributed, then you get the Heretic effect. So, Heretic effect is the last effect. So that's a really nice effect. And wow, that's all the Heretic monsters, at least in that bunch anyway. So, next up we have Interplanetary Purpley Thorny Dragon. If a monster you control destroys the battle card effect and sends to graveyard, you can special this card from your hand. So, a Dragon type monster, and it replaces someone on the field, so at least it's that. This is basically the Obelisk version of that other one that had reverse stats, so I say Obelisk version, I just mean it from my God card deck stats, the reverse version, so, next up we have Keeper of the Shrine. This card can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a Dragon type monster, like a few dragons you could probably think of. While this card is in your hand or graveyard, if a face-up Dragon type monster on the field, except Keeper of the Shrine, is sent to the graveyard by card effect because it's destroyed in battle, which I think you can tribute it for Obelisk effect. You can special this card, then if that monster sent to go is a normal monster, you can add one dragon type normal monster from your graveyard to your hand. You can use the effect of keep it destroying once per turn. So, again, another really nice effect. I need to, let me have a look at this effect, let me read it properly. Okay, so it's an if you can effect. So I think you can Obelisk a dragon and then get this guy's effect, or you can Hieratic a dragon and get this guy's effect or whatever, so, you know. Next up, even though I have no blue eyes white dragons in this deck, but I will soon enough, we have Maiden with Eyes of Blue. When this card is targeted for an attack, you can negate the attack, and if you do, change the battle position of this card. Then you can special one blue eyes dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard, kind of like Hieratics except with blue eyes specifically. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, this physical card, except during the damage step, you can special one blue dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only use one Maiden of Eyes of Blue effect per turn, and you want that turn. So even if you control 3, you only get half of the effect that turn. So, you know, not a bad card, and it's a pretty cool anime reference, I think, as well. Next up, we have Master with Eyes of Blue, another level 1 tuner, like with Maiden. When this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 1 light monster, one level 1 light tuner monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can shuffle this card from your graveyard into the deck and target one effect monster you control, like not Obelisk, because you want to send it to go. Send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special one blue eyes monster from your graveyard, other than the sent monster. You can only use this effect of Master with Eyes of Blue once per turn. So that's a nice little effect for you right there if you want to replace sort of blue eyes or something. It doesn't tribute though, so you can't get the Hieratics effects off of it. Next up is kind of one of my favourites a little bit, if you will. It's Montage Dragon, and it's good because obviously you can discard your normal dragon type monsters and get a really good start on this, and then still Hieratic them to the field or whatever. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by sending 3 other monsters from your hand to the graveyard, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card's attack becomes the combined original levels of the sent monsters times 300. So that's a pretty cool effect right there. I want to talk about him later as well, so I look forward to that. Next up, we have Protect with Eyes of Blue, another level 1 light tuner. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one level 1 light tuner monster from your hand. You can target one of the monsters you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special one blue eyes monster from your hand, you're going to use the effect to protect your. So obviously, like, I probably wouldn't be using that latter effect because you have to send an event monster to the graveyard to replace it with blue eyes, but hey, it's still something, you know, it's something. I mean, you can, actually, now that I think about it, let me look at Obelisk real quick. Okay, so the Obelisk's effect reads as if, like, if you tribute it, quote unquote, for Protect with Eyes of Blue or whatever, then and then you get it back, and you somehow get Obelisk back into your hand, and you're able to then somehow normal summon Obelisk again, or if you're able to Monster Reborn Obelisk again or something, you can either activate its effect again or attack within that turn. That's how it reads to me. So there's a little bonus there, if you will, if that works, which I presume it does, but, you know, I guess it's something I'll have to test out. Wasn't the video games, but I'm also worried about testing out video games. Next up, we have Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. During your next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by card effects in its graveyard, special summon this card from the graveyard. When this card is special summoned, this way destroy all spell trap cards on the field. So basically, heavy storms the field. Yeah, and it has to be destroyed by card effect. So obviously, you can't destroy it. You unfortunately can't destroy it with your own Obelisk, and you can't tribute it with Obelisk, but it's still, you know, something. You know, it's still, you know, it's still something that you can bring out. And obviously, I've got that other monster that tributes, you know, itself in another monster, so you've got that. Next up is the White Sun of Legend, another level 1 light tuner. When this card is sent to the graveyard, add 1 blue eyes dragon from your deck to your hand. So that's a really nice effect, and it's also got the stats of a 10th of blue eyes as well, so it's really nice. Really nice card right there. It's like a red eyes black shake, except it's it's a little bit different. I say red attack chick, I know it's been changed, but you know. And finally, final monster is Vanguard of the Dragon. You can send one dragon type monster from your hand to the graveyard. This card gets free to attack. When this card you control is sent to your graveyard by your opponent's card effect, you can target one dragon type non-monster in either player's graveyard and special summon it. So this card obviously gets some of your opponent. You can get one of your opponent's monsters, or you can obviously send any dragon type monster from your hand to the graveyard like a normal monster, and then be able to bring it back anyway with Heretic. So that's a really nice card right there. Right, time for the spell cards. We first of all have Advanced Draw. This spell card, I went over this last time actually in the Slifer deck. Tribute face up level 8 or higher monster control, draw 2 cards. So if you can get a Heretic up to level 8 or higher, then you can tribute it for this card, draw your 2 cards and then special another dragon. Or you can tribute your Blue Eyes or your Heretic Seal or whatever. You know, your dragon type normal monster that's got 0 technical defense and draw 2 cards from it. So that's a really nice card right there. Next, a Wingbeat of Giant Dragon. When return a level 5 or higher dragon type monster you control to the hand, and if you do, destroy a spell trap card on the field. So it's like Heavy Storm, Heavy Storm, but you add with the cost of having to return a level 5 or higher dragon to the hand, which you can do on that Cyber Dragon Heretic monster, and then you spell summon them again, or you can return your Blue Eyes to the hand to add for this card, Heavy Storm on the field, and then tribute summon your Blue Eyes by tributing 2 more Heretics or something, or you know. So you've got it's a nice little strategy card right there. That's really cool. Next is Axe of Despair, the Archfiend version, if you will, because it's this card actually has the text. This card is treated as an Archfiend card. The equipped monster gains 1,000 attack. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can tribute a monster, place this card on top of the deck. So, you know, it tributes monsters. That's kind of the main reason why it's here, but also nice little boost as well in your attack. Next up is Beacon of White. If you do not control another Beacon of White, and you have 3 or more Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, target one of them, special summon it, but its effects negated. Also equip this card. When this card leaves the field, banish the equipped monster. All monsters you control cannot attack. Also, if you have any number of Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, which you should do, because you have to have 3 in your graveyard to activate it and you special summon one of them, the equipped monster can attack up to the number of times during each battle phase. I wonder if you can, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but I noticed a spell card that says all equipped spell cards that can be re-equipped to a monster is re-equipped to a monster control. I know Yugi used it in Battle City, so I know there's that. I can't remember what it's called, but I wonder if that works in this as well. Like, I wonder if it can move it, if you will. So, yeah, that's something to wonder about as well. And obviously equip it onto your Obelisk or something, you know. Next up is Burst Stream of Destruction. If you control a Blue Eyes Dragon, destroy a monster your opponent controls. Blue Eyes Dragon cannot attack the turn after its effect, and you can't like tribute Blue Eyes and then bring it back and then attack with Blue Eyes. It's just a blanket, can't attack with Blue Eyes or White Dragon, but you can fuse into Blue Eyes Ultimate or tribute for Obelisk or whatever, and you know you can attack then. So it's kind of like an Obelisk the Tormentor's effect, except you only have to control a Blue Eyes Dragon in order to use it, but none of them can attack then, rather than just the one. You know. Next up is Cards of Consonance. This card one dragon type tuner monster with faster less attack, draw 2 cards, and obviously the artwork actually gives you a hint on what monster to use, as it's actually that's card of not Card of Consonance. That's White Sun Legend right there. So obviously you discard your White Sun Legend, draw 2 cards, and your White Sun Legend is going to give us, so you get to draw a Blue Eyes Dragon as well. And yeah, I don't know if there's any other. I might be able to use this in my Slifer deck. I'm not sure though, but well, the fact of the matter is that it loses you 2 cards, but it draws you 3 essentially, because you got to obviously play this card and your White Sun Legend, but then it draws you 2 plus a Blue Eyes, so it might be good for Slifer. You know, it's not too bad. Next is Destruction Swordsman Fusion. Fusion summon one fusion monster lists Buster Blader as material from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or either side of the field as fusion materials. So it's like a super polymerization, but with your hand as well, but only for Buster Blader fusion monsters. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, like a normal dragon. Add this card to your hand. You can only use each effect of Destruction Swordsman Fusion once per turn. And obviously this is good for bringing out Dark Paladin, if you've got the card. Because that gives you 500 attacking pounds for every dragon on the field and in the graveyard, including your own. But also, it's good for like other Buster Blader fusions, and obviously Buster Blader himself is a pretty good card, not for this set specifically, but it's pretty good for dragons. It's like anti-dragon, if you will. So it's got something there, if you will. Alright, next up is Dragon Shrine. Send a dragon type monster from your deck to your graveyard. Then, if that monster in your graveyard is a dragon type normal monster, you can send another one from your deck to your graveyard. You only pay one per turn. So obviously this is good for milling purposes and whatnot, and it can only do dragons, and if you do a normal one you get 2 mills. So that first one really is kind of a freebie, if you will. But it depends on what you want to bring out and whatnot. So obviously, because obviously a lot of the heretic stuff doesn't target, it can bring them out from the deck. So it's not like this card's absolutely needed for it. But it's still something. It's still a nice little card to play. It thins out the deck a little bit as well, so that's nice. Might put it in my Exodia deck. Alright, next up is 3 copies of Enemy Controller. Activate one of these effects. First effect is target one face of monster your opponent controls, change its battle position. And second effect is tribute one monster, like a heretic monster, and target one face of monster your opponent controls. Take control of it into the end phase. So that's a nice little effect as well, because you get to tribute a heretic, bring out another dragon, and you get to take control of one of your opponent's monsters. So that's really nice. Next we have Galactic Charity. If you control 2 copies of it as well. If you control a Galaxy Xyz Monster, discard 1 card, draw 2 cards. Also, if you activate this card, any damage your opponent takes for the rest of the turn is halved. You can only activate 1 Galactic Charity per turn. So obviously really nice for drawing your few cards. You discard a card like a dragon, so it's really a normal dragon, so it's really, you don't discard anything technically, and you get to draw 2 cards. So but you have to control the Galaxy Xyz Monster. Bearing in mind it says Galaxy Xyz Monster, not Galaxy Eyes, or anything of those archetypes. So as long as it's called Galaxy, you should be fine. So bear that in mind for later. Next up we have Galaxy Queen's Light. So I presume Galaxy Queen number 81, I think, works with that card as well. Galaxy Charity card. Target one face of level 7 or higher monster you control, like Obelisk. Levels of all of the physical monsters you currently control become the current level of that monster until the end phase. So that's good for Xyz summoning, and it's also good for you can make one of your heretic monsters level 8 monster and then tribute it for advanced draw. So therefore drawing you 2 cards and getting you another card out. Or you can even bring out the heretic seal, that level 8 dragon type normal monster, and just tribute that. Next up is Heretic Seal of Supremacy. Spell summon a heretic monster from your hand. That's it. It's a nice card though. It starts your heretic, so that's really nice. Next up is Monster Reincarnation. Discard 1 card, add 1 monster card from your graveyard to your hand. So obviously, if you've got a monster in your graveyard like Obelisk, or if you've got a card that says discard 1 warrior type monster, this can basically kind of swap it out for a dragon type monster in your hand, if you will. So that's a really nice card right there. Next one, this one's kind of predictable. Mound of the Bound Creator. Level 10 or higher monsters on the field cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, which I think Obelisk already can't be anyway. If a level 10 or higher monster on the field destroys a monster by battle as its graveyard, the player controls the destroyed monster takes a vast damage, so you can't use Obelisk's effect to destroy cards. And when this card on the field is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Divine monster from your deck to your hand. So let's just see if it protects Obelisk at all. Because really, the only two effects that really work with Obelisk is the Destroy Battle effect and the Search effect. Cannot be targeted by spells, traps, or card effects. Cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Okay, so it does protect Obelisk a little bit more, I think. Yeah, it does. It does protect. It does protect them a little bit more. So that's really nice. Next up, we have 1 for 1. Send one monster card from your hand to the graveyard, like a normal Dragon Type monster. Special summon a level 1 monster from your hand or deck. So that's good for bringing out one of the those light level 1 tuners. It's good for bringing those out, and also good for filling up. Well, you have to discard a monster card. It can be a normal Dragon Type monster, and therefore it's technically you're not discarding anything because it's, you know, you discarded the, because you can just have a ticket anyway, so it's fine. Next is Silent Doom. Special summon one normal monster from your graveyard in face of defense position. It cannot attack. So that's obviously good for bringing out like a Blue Eyes Dragon or something for a fusion, or just another normal monster for tributing or something like that. So that's really nice card right there. Next up is Silver's Cry. Target a Dragon Type normal monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target. You can only activate one Silver's Cry per turn. So again, you can bring out your Blood's Dragon, you can actually attack with it, or whatnot, or you can fuse with it or whatever, just like Silent Doom, except, you know. So, and it's a quick play as well, the Silver's Cry is, so that's really nice as well. Next is Stamping Destruction. If you control a Dragon Type monster, target spell attack on the field and destroy it. And if you do, inflict 500 damage to its controller. So if you destroy your own card, you take 500 damage. You destroy your opponent's card, which you probably want to do, they take 500 instead. But you have to control a Dragon Type monster, which you know, you're not going to have much bad luck with that. You're going to probably have a dragon, so you know, there you go. Next up we have Super Rejuvenation. This is actually one of my favourites in the deck. During the end phase of the turn, this card is activated. Draw one card from your deck for each Dragon Type monster discarded from your hand and or attributed during this turn, which is good because this is for Hieratics, so you know, it's really nice. Obviously, this would be good in the Slide Through deck as well because you could tribute a bunch of dragons and draw a bunch of cards. I think this does get. I think if you do draw into having 7 or more cards, this does get knocked down a little bit because you then have to then discard it due to the end of turn limit, if you will. But you know, if you have infinite cards in the field, the continuous spell card, you know, there's that at least. If you got that one card from last time that made your hand limit 7, that's at least one less card. But hey, you can discard a bunch of Dragon Type normal monsters and not have to worry too much about it. Next up is Swing of Memories. Special summon a normal monster from your graveyard. It's just destroyed during the end phase of this turn. So again, another normal monster specimen. You know, you can obviously bring out something like again, Blue Eyes for fusions or whatever. So it's really nice. Next, still another spell card, Symbols of Duty, and a quick spell. Send one normal monster you control to the graveyard, like a Blue Eyes or a Heretic Seal of Supremacy. Select and special one monster from either graveyard and equip with this card. When this card is removed from the field, destroy the equipped monster. So obviously it's you know, you sacrifice a normal monster to bring out, you know, another a monster from either graveyard. It's basically a premature burial, but you have to tribute a normal monster instead of paying 800. Next up is the Flute of Summoning Dragon. Playing this card when you have a Lord of D card face up on the field allows you to play up to 2 Dragon Type cards from your hand as a special summon, as the one special summon, and Lord of D is not in quotation marks. So Lord of D is its own subsection of cards like spell cards and trap cards. There's Lord of D cards. That's great. Great card right there. 10 out of 10. Next, we have the Melody of Awakening Dragon. Discard one card like a Dragon Type normal monster. Add up to 2 Dragon Type monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So, you know, that obviously really nice card, such as Blue Eyes. I think that's really the only card that this card can search out in such a deck, but I know there's Rainbow Dragon as well that this card can search. And those are the only two that I really know off by heart. Well, I say Rainbow Dragon, I mean all the Rainbow Dragons. Malefic Rainbow Dragon, Rainbow Dark Dragon. Those are the only three that I know off by heart, but, you know, here's what it is. Next we have Trading. This one's a little predictable. Discard one level 8 monster, draw 2 cards. So this one has to be level 8 monster. You can't like cheese it with a level 8 or higher monster or changing levels or whatever. Well, I mean you can if you use cost down on level 10 or 2 cost downs on level 12. But discard level 8, draw 2 cards, so you can obviously discard your Blue Eyes or your Rabbit Dragon or your Heretic Seal of Supremacy. And it's like you didn't lose anything at all really, because you can just Heretic back from the grave anyway. So, win-win. Oh my gosh, still spell cards. This one being White Elephant's Gift. Send one face-up non-effect monster you control to graveyard, like, not like Souls of God, well yes, like Souls of God, but not in this deck. Like your Blue Eyes or your Heretic Seal or whatever. Draw 2 cards. So, nice little card. And finally, the last spell card at long last. Xyz Reception. Target one face-up monster you control that has a level. Special one monster with the same level as that monster from your hand. Its effects are negated, also its attack and defense becomes 0. So it's kind of like a Heretic card a little bit. You know, but it's good for Xyz Monsters players. Bearing in mind as well, I keep mentioning how there's so many cards in this. I'm not mentioning, but I kind of keep remarking how there's so many cards in this deck. It's because I haven't properly formatted this deck yet, and I just want to get the full thing out there, if you will. Same goes for the other 2 decks actually, and probably for the Heretic deck as well, to be fair. But you know, there you go. Alright, trap cards. Arrival appears. It's like the last card. Select one face monster in your opponent's side of the field. Special summon from your hand one monster that has the same level as select monster. It's kind of like the last card basically, but instead it's a trap card. You target one of your opponent's monsters, and you do lose attack and defense. So you know it's really nice. You know, it's a pity as well is that it's not Dark Magician and Blue Eyes Dragon. You know, because both of them have a different level, so you can't like do it, if you will, unless you somehow manage to lower the Blue Eyes' level or something. Next up we have Attack of the Cornered Rat. If a level 3 or lower normal monster you control battles, like my Petite Dragon, okay, I guess Petite Dragon is a sort of gun in the deck. During the damage step you can pay life points in multiples of 100. The attack of the opponent's monster is reduced by the amount of life points you paid until the end phase. You cannot pay more life points than the attack of the opponent's monster. And that's a continuous trap card as well, so really nice card right there. Next up we have Birthright. Select one normal monster from your graveyard and special summon it in tap position. Phase of attack position. When this card is removed from the field, destroy that target. When that monster is removed from the field, destroy this card. So both of them are linked together this time, so there you go. Obviously gets you your Blue Eyes Dragon at full strength, so again, nice little card. Card of Sacrifice. Draw 2 cards. If the combined attack of all your face protection position monsters, minimum 2, is less than the attack of your opponent's face monsters with the lowest attack, face monster with the lowest attack, you cannot summon or change the battle position or the turn you activate this card. So basically, you've got to have at least 2 monsters in a tap position whose total attack is less than the attack of your opponent's face-up monster, whether it be an attack or defense position, with the lowest attack. So if they have a Karibo on the field, it has to be less than 300. And it has to be less as well. It can't be equal to. So you can't like say like, oh, your weakest monster is 3000 attack, and I have 2 monsters with 1300 attack. Therefore, my 2 monsters are equal. You know, and bear in mind as well, it takes all of your monsters minimum 2. So if you have 3 monsters with 1500 attack on the field, that's 4500 attack points. Meaning your opponent has got to have a monster. Meaning your opponent's weakest attack or weakest attack has got to be 4501 or more. You know, or more than 500. So you know, there you go. And it looks you at the battle positions, and secures your battle positions and attacking that turn as well. So you know, but you can increase your monster attack power afterwards. So you've got at least that on your side. So if you want to protect your monsters that way. Next we have Castle of Dragon Souls. Once returned, you can banish one dragon type monster from your graveyard and target one monster you control. It gains 700 attack until the end phase, even if this card leaves the field, or the monster becomes unaffected by card effects. When this face-up card on the field is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished dragon type monsters, special summon it. You can only control one Castle of Dragon Souls. So again, another nice little kind of generic dragon support card, but it works here. Next we have Champion's Vigilance. If you control a level 7 or higher normal monster, like Blue Eyes, or Blue Eyes White Dragon, it can't be Blue Eyes Ultimate, when a monster would be summoned, or a spell trap card is activated, negate the activation or the summon, and if you do, destroy that card. So, and the counter trap is really nice for this deck. Next up we have Limit Impulse. Send 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard, like your normal dragon type monsters, so it's really like sending none. Special summon 2 soul tokens, being type, dark, level 1, attacking defense 0. These tokens cannot be tributed, except for a tribute summon, like for tribute summoning your Blue Eyes or your Obelisk. So you can't tribute them for Obelisks to Fed, but you can tribute them for Obelisks to summon, at least, so there you go. And they're both and obviously all tokens are special summons as well, so there you go. Next up, we have Soul Resurrection. Special summon a normal monster from your graveyard in defense position. When this card is removed from the field, destroy that monster. When that monster is destroyed, destroy this card. So if this card, if you lose this card, you lose the monster. If your monster is destroyed, you lose this card. But if your monster leaves the field through a fusion summon or a synchro or whatever, then or tribute, even if it's Obelisk's effect or whatever, then you don't lose this card, so you've got to be wary of that. If anything, I would probably say use it to bring out a Blue Eyes with Dragon or something, and maybe include the final attack orders there as well, something, or a War Monster, if you will. So there you go. Just because there's no Uriah in this deck to tribute your Soul Resurrection or anything like that, there's no like double cycling or anything like that. Next up we have the League of Uniform Non-Nomenclature. You got your 3 drama yellows and your 3 mucky muckies right in the background right there. Select a face up level 2 or lower non-monster on your side of the field. That fits card, like your Soul Forgot, your Petite Dragon. I wonder if there's any better level 2 or lower Petite Dragon type monsters than Petite Dragon. I hope not, because Petite Dragon's kind of cool actually. Special summon from your deck to your side of the field as many cards as possible with the same name as selected monster. So that would be really good for Petite Dragon, but also good for Souls of Forgotten. So, because there's no restriction on that. There's just no restriction on that at all. It's just special summon more copies of it. It's like a friendly reckless summon, but target a level 2 or lower normal you control. I need more copies of this card, man. I want to get more copies, man. This is a really cool card. Alright, next up we have Tyrant's Tantrum. So most people on the internet. No, I'm kidding. Activate by tributing 2 monsters like your Heretics. Sorry, I don't know why I find that so funny. Sorry. Tribute 2 monsters like your Heretics. So they replace themselves as well. That's pretty cool. Your opponent cannot activate a spell card unless they mill a spell card from as well. So that's a really nice card for milling and whatnot. Oh wow, last trap card. And lastly we have Tyrant's Tummy Ache. Activate by tributing 1 monster like a Heretic monster. Now the player can special summon a level 6 or higher monster. So yeah, you can't that includes you. You can't special summon level 6 or higher monster. I assume this, like, if you tribute a Heretic, I assume this takes priority, so you can't bring out your level 6, your Luster Dragons. But you can special summon your level 5 or below monsters. You can special summon your Xyz or Lynx. So there's that at least. But hey, it's a tribute card if anything, and does lock your opponent out some stuff. So there's that at least. Wow, we're finally onto an extra deck for once. This one is going to be, well, and it's the Synchro as well. Synchros are my favourite. So this first one might be predictable. It's a Xyz Silver Dragon. Requires 1 tuner plus 1 more non-tuner normal monsters, like a bunch of monsters in this deck. When this card is special summoned, Dragon type monsters you currently control cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects until the end of the next turn. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can target a normal dragon, a normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So that you can target any normal monster, regardless of type. It doesn't have to be a dragon type monster. So, you know, it's really nice, and it's level 9, so you can use Blue Eyed Dragon, obviously, and the first Blue stats as well, so it's really nice. Not too shabby. Right, now on to the Xyz Monsters. I've actually got 2 Xyz Monsters in this deck, which is, wow, it's actually kind of astonishing for once. This first one is a Galaxy Stealth Dragon, so there you go, a Galaxy Monster that's not Galaxy Eyes, therefore it works with those Galaxy cards I mentioned before. 2 level 4 Dragon type monsters, and it's a 2,000 attack, 600 defense, so wow, it's a little weaker than Utopia. Once returned, you can start some material from this card, special on a Dragon type monster from your hand. So you can bring out a Blue Eyed Dragon, for example, if you wanted to. Just like that. Your opponent cannot target other Galaxy cards you control with card effects. Also, those cards cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So if you control 2 copies of this card, your opponent cannot target either of them with card effects or destroy them. So, really nice effect right there. Speaking of Galaxy Monsters, Galaxy Xyz Monsters to be exact, we now have another unexpected card that you probably wouldn't expect, and that is Galaxy Eyes, no I'm kidding. It's number 42, Galaxy Tomahawk. Yeah, another Galaxy Monster. A number Galaxy Monster, actually. That's not Galaxy Eyes. Therefore it's... I mean, the Galaxy Eyes do gain support from those Galaxy cards. I'm pretty sure it does anyway. But this ain't one of them. This is another Galaxy Monster that's not Galaxy Eyes. So, rank 7, generic materials, still attacking 3,000 defense. Once per turn, you can attach 2 materials from this card. So summon as many Battle Eagle tokens, machine type, wind, level 6, 2,000 attack and 0 defense, as possible, but destroy them during the end phase of this turn. Also, your opponent takes no further battle damage this turn. So that's really nice. It's it's a really nice effect. And so you might think, like, what's the point of this card in the deck? Personally, the way I would see using it is, like, I would summon it, and with the extra monster now, you would bring it out with, you would get 5 tokens onto the field. You can use these tokens for, I think they're counted as normal monsters. So if you use a level 3 tuner with one of them, you can get a Xyz Silver Dragon out. Obviously the tokens, so you can't Xyz with them, but you can link with them. Assuming you have got a link. Well, I say you can link with them. Obviously, you need to link with this card as well in that case. Or you could tribute 3 of them for your Obelisk the Tormentor, 3 of the tokens for Obelisk the Tormentor. Bearing in mind that if you tribute Galaxy Tomahawk for Obelisk, whether it's effect or for the tribute, you have 1 more token you've got to use up somehow. So you've got to be wary of that. And then, or you could use them for. You've got a bunch of ways to just use them, and I thought about this strategy of using Galaxy Tomahawk ages ago. I can't even remember when I thought of it, because I just remember thinking it was a really nice idea to use this as part of a strategy for summoning out Obelisk or using Obelisk effect or whatever, something like that. And so I've always wanted to have this card in a Obelisk deck, so that's why they're here. It's pretty cool as well because it's a normal monster. That's not like your typical Galaxy Eyes or Utopia or anything like that. I'm using in such a deck. It's I really like it, to be honest. So it's really cool, I think. Alright, and that's the deck. Wow, 45 minutes to go through a deck. Well, I say that's the deck, but obviously that's the whole thing, and side deck included, I guess, because I need to sort these decks out. I'll show off Heracti in her full form as well. Well, I say in her full form, I'll show off the whole deck in one go. And obviously next time I show them off, they'll be better off all four decks will be more deck-like, if you will. No 2,222 cards for me. And then what else was there? So okay, so there's also Montage Dragon that I wanted to talk about. So Montage Dragon, so I had this idea a while back, where so obviously in the anime, you've got those first episode duels, right, where you've got Yugi versus Sato, with Sato's Blue Eyes Dragon, and then you've got Jaden versus Crowler with his Ancient Gear Golem, right? Yusei versus what's his name with Montage Dragon, and so on and so forth, basically. And all these monsters, not all these monsters, but these first duels all even have a monster that has 3,000 attack. At least all six in the main animes anyway, the first six. I don't know about the 7th anime and onwards, but I know this first six do. Even Montage Dragon, it used 2 level 3s and level 4 for its summon, therefore it had 3,000 attack. So, it's and I was thinking maybe I could make a deck based on those monsters, based on the monsters that the 3,000 attack point monsters, if you will. So obviously I'll get 3 plus dragons with a Blood Ultimate Dragon or whatever else I decide to choose. I'll get Ancient Gear Golem. I just need the 1 copy, but I might get 3 or something for Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. I'll get Montage Dragon, maybe a bunch of discard monsters or something. Stuff like that. And I was thinking of making that into a deck. That's like a gimmick kind of deck, or like a pay your specs kind of thing, kind of deck, if you will. I guess technically speaking, I could also do like an opposite deck as well, which is the main character deck. So obviously the first one would probably be Exodia. Second one would be Flame Wingman, probably. Third one is Drunk Warrior, I think. Pretty sure it's Drunk Warrior. Fourth one is Utopia, stuff like that. Just combine those kinds of ideas together. Again, it's just a gimmick deck, if you will. But something that I would think is pretty cool in a way, if you will. Just something pretty interesting. But yeah, I thought I brought that up because obviously I had Montage Dragon here, so it's thought I'd mention that, see what people think about that. I haven't built either deck yet, but maybe I'll be able to build them in the near future. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's it. For today's episode. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have another minky day.